amazing ladies. Welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative. And I am so excited today to be joined by the amazing Sue Kennedy from Author Academy. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sue.
Thank you so much for having me, Kylie. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited to hear all about your journey. So for the listeners, let's kick it off. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell them a bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure, yeah. So as you said, my name's Sue Kennedy. My business is Author Academy, and I am a book coach, and I predominantly help business owners and people that have been through some kind of traumatic experience. And the reason that they are my audience is because it's my experiences that I've turned into a business. So, and it's more so like, I mean, I'm in business, but the traumatic side is because I've been through a few different traumatic experiences that has led me to where I am today, being a book coach, helping others. So, yeah.
Wow. How awesome is like the whole process of writing a book, and then it can be such a long journey, and then holding that physical copy. Like, what made you want to help others do that?
So it all goes back to when I had everything and then lost everything. So I, had, the husband, the house, the dog, all of that. And I lost everything, had nothing, no money, nothing. And went, wow, okay. And it was like a domino effect. And I didn't actually realize that I had fallen into a really dark depression because, it wasn't really talked about as openly as it is today. And so it was only because I happened to be having lunch, and I think Oprah was on interviewing someone, and I happened to have it on, and someone was there talking, and they had depression, and they were talking about it, and I went, well, hang on a minute, that sounds like my symptoms. Wow, is that what I've got? So I decided I'd do a bit of research around that. And sure enough, that's what was going on. But it got to the point, because as I said, I lost everything. I got to the point where I actually considered suicide, and it was that bad. And it was only because of my beautiful dogs, who I only just lost one of them 6 weeks ago, nearly 6 weeks ago. And he was the one that actually was the one that pulled me out of it, and sort of recognized that something was very wrong, snapped me out of that moment. And thanks to him, I'm here today. But from that, I thought I need to research, and then I thought, what if I write about it? Because that to me would be a healing process for me. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I should actually put this into a book, and then I can help others. And so that's what I did. And then, of course, from there I went, well, that was such an uplifting, amazing experience that I thought, I'm going to write other books. So I did. And then one of the books that I wrote about was how to write a book, and I turned that into workshops and everything else. And of course, now I do book coaching and pretty much help others achieve the same thing, because back then there wasn't things like people like me that could help you. But now there are people like me. So that's why I do what I do.
It's awesome. Like, I know people that have been working on their books for years and years and years, and other people that just don't know the process. So I think it's so amazing that there's people like yourself out there going, this is what I do. This is my business. You've always dreamed of, having a book. I can take you through the process and get that physical copy in your hand, because once you have that, it's like game changing. It's like, wow, I created something. And what I love about books is that we don't tend to throw them away. We put them on a shelf somewhere, or, if something happens, then our kids will get the books. Like, it's not something we tend to just chuck in a fire or throw in a bin.
Well, it's the same as, like, to me, it's your business card now.
Yeah.
Because people, when you get a business card, I don't know about you, but unless I actually need to contact that person, it goes in the garbage bin. So, yeah, and where I would never throw a book away.
Exactly. Never. I know what you mean. I'd never throw a book, but yeah, you're right. So that's a great way to look at it. If you get a book out there and use it as your business card, and you don't know when you're going to come back to that book too. Like, it's like your to be read list could be massive, but you're always going to come past that bookshelf and someone will be like, oh, I remember that book I got from Sue. Maybe I'll check it out now. Maybe I'll have a read.
Exactly, because it might not be for you right in that moment. I've had books like that. And then years later I pick it up and I go, oh, I get why I never read it back then and why I'm reading it today. It's because now the time's right for me to read that and listen to what's being said in it. So it's, and to have a book for your business is so powerful as far as credibility. And a perfect example of that, I remember when I used to be a director of BNI, but I was the vice president at one point, and I remember going in and I had my 3 books that I had done all at once because I had an event that I was going to run, and I thought, wow, how awesome to have that at the back of the room to sell. So anyway, I said to her, oh, look, my books arrived that I, wrote and published. And she's like, what? So she got up and announced it to the whole group, and there was over 50 people in the room. And I mean, they sort of knew who I was, but they never really connected with me until that day. After the meeting, they all came up to me and looked at me in totally different viewpoint and eyes, because it was like, wow, you're actually now a published author. You've actually written books about things that we're interested in, and you obviously know what you're talking about. And I thought, well, yeah, I always have, but now that I've got the book, they recognized it.
Yeah, it is that instant credibility of, oh, she's put it, because to put stuff in a book, it's also putting yourself out there too. Like anyone could pick up that book down the track. So
Exactly.
it is important, and it ups the game too for your business. So I think it's super important. How many books have you published now?
My own 10.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
You're a machine at it now.
well, I'd love to do more, but I don't have time. I'm too busy helping everyone else. But that's okay. I feel just as excited and like as if I'm giving birth as well when we birth their book. So it's I get the excitement all the time. So it's great.
That's a great analogy too, of like, because you are bringing out this project and like, here we go. And as I said before, some people labor over this for years and years and years. I just had a friend of mine who recently published 24 years she's been working on this book. I'm like, whoa, that is like.
Oh, I get a lot of people that, yeah. Well, one lady was, I think it was 30, 35 years or something.
And then once it was out, she was just like, the biggest weight lifted off her shoulders.
And it was like, oh, why did I wait so long? Because you're waiting for me to enter your life, pretty much.
Exactly. That's it. You're waiting for the right person to finish the journey of that.
Exactly.
So you mentioned before that you help people generally with trauma to release their books. Is there any other books you've released in different industries?
Oh, yeah, they're just my 2 main genres. But yeah, there's lots of people that come like with children's books and, all kinds of poetry. So there's all different ones. It's not just business books or trauma, so which is good.
Cool. So if a client is coming to you, is it because they've already finished writing or they've just got an idea for a book? Like when in their process should they go, okay, I need to go and hit up Sue Kennedy and go check her stuff out?
Well, pretty much at any point, but I mean, the program I've created is a 5-step program which takes you from start to finish. And so it's from an idea that you may have or may not think you have, and then all of a sudden it's like we talk about it, we start working, and then it's like, yeah, no, it's not really resonating that much. Maybe it's something else I should be, writing about, and then we brainstorm that and figure out what that is and go from there. And then I also, because I love art as well, I'm an artist as well, an intuitive artist. So, and I thought, how do I do both? Because I want to do both. And that's why I incorporated the 2 together. And so that's why I've got a unique sort of step-by-step process, because it's, brings art into it. And that part of it actually helps unblock your story if you are blocked. Then that doesn't matter whether you're in business or not. It's a great, process to go through. And then, of course, we proofread, design it, and then you also get printed copies.
Oh, beautiful. So you do get those like physical ones that you can start screaming at and showing at all the networking meetings and hiding behind when you don't want to do an introduction. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So they can come at any time. Like even if, we just adjust the program to wherever you are on your writing journey.
Beautiful. I love that. So what has been your biggest challenge as a business owner so far?
I think it's the marketing is big. It's understanding how important that is and the steps you have to like continually, stick at to get momentum and keep going forward with the business. Because I think a lot of people don't understand what's involved and how much is involved. I think that's been probably the biggest challenge. Apart from that, I'm fine. It's just that, oh, now I have to write another email, or now I have to write another blog, or I have to do another video, or it's
You've
like,
written 10 books, lady.
I know, right? I mean, to me, that's easier. But anyway, yeah.
So we spoke about challenge. So what's been your biggest achievement so far?
Look, to me, I have many achievements. I think the achievements are every time I help someone publish a book, because I feel that's an achievement for me as well as them. We've achieved something great together.
Mm. And it's one that's on so many people's bucket lists. Like whenever you talk to them, they've got it there, but they're just like, oh, whether they've started writing or not, it's still on their bucket list somewhere to publish.
Yep.
So it's awesome.
And a lot of the times people are like, well, is it going to be good enough? Or am I good enough to write it? So that's a lot of reasons why people don't get it finished. And the other, of course, is being held accountable, which is what I do, but also to hold your hand and guide you through it, because a lot of people just, go, oh, you know what, I'll do that tomorrow. And then, of course, tomorrow never comes because something else pops up and you go, oh, no, I better finish that first.
And it's publishing has changed so much as well. So a lot of the older in old times or before, you used to have to go and get a publisher, and publishers aren't publishing just anyone. So that's why that, got to be good enough or whatever. But now there's so many amazing ways we can self-publish to still get our word out there.
Exactly. But I still highly recommend getting a professional to help you, only because, and lately I've heard a lot that, yes, the self-publishing route is a great one. And I highly recommend that really to traditional publishers, because A, it's hard to get one because they only do so many. And secondly, they want to pretty much rewrite your story. And I disagree with that. I think it needs to be your voice because it's your story. They don't know your story like you know it. So why go and change it? So anyway, that's, my thoughts on that. And so, but yeah, you can do it. You can do it yourself. But as I say, get someone to help you with it, because, I've heard lately, that's what I was going to say, was that a lot of people, they're buying books, say on Amazon or whatever, wherever they're buying them from, other big outlets, they're getting stories and they're rubbish. And it's because a lot of people are not, getting the right help to pull it together so that it does read properly. And, because, and a lot of people are also saying, I'm not selling any books. Well, did you get it proofread properly? Did you, get help so that it flows and makes sense and keeps the reader wanting to turn the pages?
All very important things.
Exactly.
Important things.
Yes.
So what do you love the most about what you do? Like what gets you out of bed every morning, even though at the moment it's currently freezing? What's getting you out of bed at the moment to go and keep doing what you're doing?
Oh, look, coming on podcasts like this is I love doing this because I've been meeting so many amazing people. It's just, I love it. I just love it. But also just the fact that, okay, awesome. I've got a client today I can help, and, we're going to make some amazing progress today. So, it's like, yeah, who am I going to be able to help today? I'm really get very excited about that.
Your bookshelves must be like just full to the brim, Sue.
Yes.
Like so much.
I remember one time I went and bought this was a few years back, bookcases, and I said, I need 2 of those, but yeah, that they're not big enough. Can you custom make some?
Mhm.
They're like, you'll never fill them. I'm like, you don't know me. Anyway, and I've literally filled them, then some. I mean, in the house we're currently in, there's bookcases from ceiling to floor and completely full.
Whoa. That's awesome. That's awesome. So is there any advice you wish you were given when you started your business? Like someone went, hey, Sue, don't do that, or do this instead.
So I think I'm going to go back to what I was saying. If I was starting again, I would definitely get myself a book coach to help me so that it makes the process a lot easier. And plus I would get it finished. And finished, in not years, within a year.
Because that's what's like, it's great working on a project, but that adrenaline hit you get when you finish it. And as I mentioned before, holding that physical copy is a different kind of feeling. So, yeah.
Unbelievable. I'll never forget the very first time I got my very first book. I remember holding it there. I was in the middle of, because where our post office is, it's got a little car park attached. I was standing in the middle of a car park crying. I was that excited and so proud of myself. I'm like, oh my God, look, here's my book with my name on it. It's like, and I knew like what had gone into that. And I was finally holding it in my hand. It was just the best feeling.
That sounds amazing. See, everyone needs to write a book so they can also cry in the car park.
That's right.
It's just all those emotions coming out and your story being out there.
Yep.
So, and anyone, if anyone's listening, and as you mentioned before about the whole, am I good enough? Everyone has a story to tell.
Yes.
And there's people out there that, I've read, I don't know if the quote, but it was something like, your story could be someone's survival guide.
Definitely. 200%.
Yeah. So even when people are like, I don't know if it's good enough or people want to hear it, there is going to be someone out there that's going to come across your book, whether it's when you launch it or on a random bookshelf somewhere, and they're going to pick it up and it's going to change
their life.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, as I said, I 200% agree with you there, because your story will make a difference, even if it's just one person. But I'm sure it'll be more than just one person. It would have been worth it. I mean, it'll of course help you, but others as well.
Yeah. And yeah, as you mentioned, we'll help you just by getting it out, as you mentioned, because the healing process and ticking off a bucket list item. Who doesn't want to tick off a bucket list item?
Exactly. We love that. And I love ticking. I love at least to be able to go tick.
So if you're happy to share, what's your ultimate goal for your business? Like that big, hairy, scary goal?
Is to have my own property where I have my own, of course, beautiful house, but it has a couple of large buildings where I run retreats, workshops, one-to-ones, all that, where people can come and and it's not just for me, and I'll run writing retreats, and art retreats or whatnot, but it's for other people to be able to come and hire that space out. So I'm helping them as well, and then they can run classes and retreats there as well. So it's it's going to take a fair bit to get that happening, but I am working towards it.
That sounds amazing. And which area do you have an idea of which area you would do that in?
I'm thinking, Blue Mountains or in the Hawkesbury here. So I'm out in the Hawkesbury. So anywhere sort of just on the outskirts of Sydney, I'm thinking at the moment.
Cool.
But, and my other big plan is having that and then getting something in Hawaii.
Ooh.
So then we can go to Hawaii as well.
Now, isn't that great to do a book writing retreat in Hawaii?
Oh, unbelievable.
That'd be awesome. And it gets you away from the cold.
That's it. Exactly. So in the wintertime, we're going over there for retreats.
Sounds amazing. So what is advice that you would like to give others, whether it be about your business journey, whether it be about book writing? What's a tip or something you want to give the listener?
So my biggest tip is to always remain positive and live in the present moment. And my motto in life is keep going. You've got this.
That's true. You have got this. Beautiful. So, Sue, how do we stalk you? Where do we find you?
Okay, so you've got the website, authoracademy.com.au, but I also have a page that I'd love your listeners to take a look at. It's authoracademy.com.au/gifts, so GIFTS, and there's a few different lovely gifts on there that you can download for free. And there's also a section on there where you can also book in a 30-minute heartstorming session with me.
Awesome. So if you've got, while you're listening to this, your like brain's been percolating and you're like, okay, I've got this book and this book I want to do, they can jump in on a call and go, okay, Sue, what do I do now? Where do I go from here?
Yep, exactly.
Beautiful. That's awesome. So now everyone listening has to book in a call with Sue. Sorry if you get inundated, so that they can get their book project started.
Perfect. Happy to be inundated.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for sharing about what you do. And I think books are so super important to get out there and get your story out there. And there's so many good benefits to get a book out there, not just getting your story out there, but I don't know, it has like that legacy attachment. I don't know if that's just me, but like my grandkids will may see it, or my great grandkids. And as you said, no one chucks a book out.
No, exactly. Hence why I've got so many.
It's like sacrilege. Yeah, we don't do that. I am surprised. I was waiting for you to tell me you have a library like in that movie Beauty and the Beast, which has that library with the big things.
Yeah, well, that will be at the retreat. Oh my God, I'm going to have so much acreage that I'll have a big building dedicated just to books.
Oh, that'd be awesome. It'll be like the new library. We just go to Sue's property out there. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to pop all your links and everything down below so that people can find you, stalk you, and get their book going. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Kylie. It's been great.